Welcome to the channel. I am Brad with Fine Tuned, and today we have a solid video for you guys. So right here I have my E90. It's a Le Mans Blue 335D, and this thing is a unicorn. So for one, it's Le Mans Blue, which is pretty rare, only came on the M Sport. And the M Sport, they only made, I don't think a lot, maybe like 600 United States. I might be wrong on that. You'll have to post it down in the comments below if you know how many they made in the diesel variant in the United States. But it's got saddle brown interior with a $1,000 option of piano black on it. It's got the Harman Kardon sound system in it. It has adaptive high beams on it. The only option that this does not have is adaptive cruise, which is pretty wild, but we have adaptive cruise over here. So we're going to install the adaptive cruise on this car. We got some new wheel bearings we're going to install, new fog lights, LED fog light bulbs. And then over here, we have a massive brake upgrade for this vehicle. And these calipers are going to look killer on this vehicle. So these are yellow Brembo brakes. I bought them off of FCP Euro. The fronts are totally bolt-on, plug and play. The rears just need a little bit of, I guess, adaptation to make it work. But we're going to throw these on and it's going to look killer. So yeah, we're going to start off with the brakes, and then we're going to go to the adaptive cruise and do all the rest of the stuff on it just to make this thing tip-top shape and looking 100% for the summer. I actually bought this 335D back in the beginning of March from my friend Mitch Worley in Illinois. Him and I kind of bought our first 335Ds at the same time, and I actually serviced this one quite a bit. It has a pretty cool history on it. The first owner actually bought this and did the whole German delivery on it. So that's when the owner flies over to Germany and drives the vehicle over there before it gets shipped over the United States. The original owner then sold it to my friend Mitch, and I believe he put around 80,000 miles on it and then sold it to me. He really didn't want to sell his car, but he just had a kid and purchased a new diesel truck, so this thing had to go. So I hooked up my trailer and headed down to Illinois to snag this thing from him. From there, I actually picked up a welding table from my brother, and that's when I pretty much trashed the whole front of the car. My brother and I didn't want the table to rust, so we had some turkey oil left over from Thanksgiving, so we put it on the table. Well, a majority of that went on the front of the vehicle on the way home. So yeah, I absolutely destroyed the front end, but I had my buddy Billy take care of the exterior, and he actually did a full paint correction on this thing, and it looks absolutely gorgeous now. So now it's time to do the mods. I've always wanted to do one of these. Okay, the first step, we'll go ahead and loosen up this brake line right here. And it came out nicely. There'll be a little bit of brake fluid that comes out initially, and then it'll kind of simmer off here. And I'll take it off this bracket back here. Man, these are stiff. Okay. And then we got an 18 millimeter behind the caliper, two of them. Okay, now we got all the bolts off. We'll just slide it on out. And these calipers are crusty. The pads on these weren't all that great. It didn't really break that good for me. These calipers are actually plenty good for this vehicle, but if you want the looks, you gotta go with the Brembos. And then we'll grab the 6mm Allen right here. I like to hit it in to shock it a little bit, and it should come right off. And then, I didn't even need a hammer on that, so that's nice. And now we have access to the wheel bearing, which is actually very simple. There are 18s on the back side, so we'll go ahead and loosen up all 4 of these bolts, and then pull the wheel bearing off. It's not too bad, but I just want to replace both sides, and that way everything is nice, new, and fresh on the front. And we got all the bolts out, so we'll just go ahead and yank this guy off. Make sure it's nice and non-corroded for the new wheel bearing to go in. And then we also got new bolts for the new wheel bearing. Okay, we got the new wheel bearing. I got the new bolts. I'll go ahead and put the notch towards the bottom. Just kidding, the notch does not go towards the bottom. The notch goes towards the back. All right, wheel bearings on. I just tightened up the bolts a little bit. The torque spec for this is 110 Newton meters. Okay, wheel bearings out of the way. Now we'll grab this massive 370 millimeter brake rotor and we'll go ahead and put it on this hub. And now we'll grab our beautiful brake caliper and we'll slap this guy on too. The rotor obviously bolts right up and so does this caliper here. So we'll go ahead and grab the correct bolts. Well, unfortunately I messed up. And yes, this is a different caliper in here because I was test fitting that one. And so basically, there's two different types of calipers that you could get. You could get a 370 millimeter one and a 340 millimeter one. And I didn't realize it, but these brand new calipers over here are 340 millimeters actually. And I bought 370 rotors. So what I have to do is actually get some new rotors and then we'll still continue to use these brakes. But for now, we'll go ahead and put the front on hold here and we'll go ahead and start doing the rear brakes. Just kidding, we'll actually knock out the wheel bearing on the other side right now. Okay, we're on to the rear brakes. I'm just loosening up the 16 millimeters back here. We got the bottom one, now we gotta do the top one. And now we'll loosen up the brake line back here. We'll see if it likes its life. Sometimes they have a tendency to twist. And this one is cooperating. Okay, we got that brake line off. We'll take the caliper off right now. And then we'll grab our 6 millimeter Allen back here and we'll take off this bolt. This does have some wheel spacers in here, which I'm going to remove. Okay, we just went ahead and cut the backing of this dust shield off a little bit, just to make room for the new brakes. And I did cut maybe a 1/4 inch off the top and bottom of this dust shield as well. So now what we have to do is, so we just have to punch out these ones here and put these eccentric ones in. That way we get the correct distance for the E90 rear caliper carrier. So what we'll do is we'll just screw on a bolt here and see if we can tap it out with the hammer. Okay, that one's tapped out. We'll do the same to the other one. Okay, we'll go ahead and put this rotor on now. And then we went ahead and put these little bushings in here. I'm not sure which orientation they need to be, but I think we'll be able to manipulate it once it's actually in there. All right, we're going to tighten this down to 65 Newton meters. Okay, brake caliper's all on tight. Next step is we're going to put the brake line on. And this is the same brake line as the car. so I didn't change anything crazy on there. And you definitely want to get this started by hand before you go ahead and put the wrench on it. And then now we can tighten it up. Okay, this side's all good to go. It's looking minty. So I actually used the factory brake pad wear sensor on it, and we got torqued down a spec, and everything's centered up really nice and it looks great. This caliper or this rotor is off of a E60 BMW. So with those eccentric bushings and the E60 rear rotors, it seems to be a really good combo for this vehicle. So we'll go ahead on the other side, we'll do the other side, and then once we get that done, we'll hop to some of the front bumper stuff. All right, we got the rear brakes all done on this thing. I just put the front calipers on and put the brake lines on just so that they're ready to go for when we get the calipers tomorrow. But it's pretty much all done and ready. We just got the calipers coming, and we'll get the brakes wrapped up. But I'm going to transition towards the rear window here. And on these E90s, a lot of times the weather strip on the rear dry rots and goes out. So that's exactly what we're doing. We're going to replace the weather strip around here. We got a brand new part on the table. Once we get the old one out, we'll get this out of the bag and we'll slap it on in. They're a little bit tricky. You have to use, I like to use some like lube to put it in. That way it slides in easy. It's probably not meant to go on like this. It's probably meant to go on while the rear window is being installed, but we're working with what we got here. So I'm just grabbing a pick here. I'm going to get this seal out of here, and then I should be able to pick it up and take it out the rest of the way. Just like that. So we'll do the other side and then we'll do the middle. I'm just going to blow all the dirt out of this channel. I'm just going to clean up this channel as well. Here's the new weather strip, and I had to kind of bend it because it was a little bit kinked from shipping. But we'll just go ahead and lay it on the window here. And then I'll grab some interior cleaner just because it's nice and slippery. So I got some Meguiar's Natural Shine here. I'll just spray the surface here. And then I will just start at this corner up here and slide it in and then work it down. Then I'm going to open up the trunk just so that we get the edge in there. Then I'll start at the top here and do the same thing. Once you get the channel in the window, it will slip in very nicely. Alright, I'm just going to use this pick here to help me get underneath the glass. And I think we're in. So now that corner started, and we'll just work it down the window. And I'm going to lift up the trunk again. It just needs to go down slightly, a little bit more. So I'm going to grab that microfiber I had, and that'll give me some tension to pull it down even more. That allowed me to pull it down just right where we wanted it. So this kind of sits above that lower one. That seemed to work out good. I'll just grab our pick again because we have an edge there that's not fully flat. I think I like that. It looks way better than what it did. So this is what the adaptive cruise control consists of. We have the different grill for the radar here, and the radar sits right in there like that. And we got the mounting bracket for it. And this is actually a cruise control module for other BMWs, like normal cars without the adaptive braking and stuff like that. So that has to be installed in conjunction with this radar system. And then we have the clock spring with the adaptive radar control dial here. So that's nice that we got that. And then we got the wiring harness. So basically we got to take the front bumper off. We'll put this grill in here. We'll mount up the radar, and then we'll run wiring all the way to the cabin. And then we can put the whole front bumper back on, because from there, all we'll be doing is wiring inside the cabin of the vehicle. So it's not that bad at all. All right, we're going to remove this wheel liner here. We got some 8s and some 10s. And this gives us access to the bumper board. All right. And while we're in here, I'm going to install brand new fog lights. The headlights were replaced at one point in time, so they look nice and crispy, but these fog lights are not doing it for me. These were actually broken, believe it or not, so the tab here is broken on both of them, so they're just bouncing in the wind. Here's the brand new fog lights. They're a ZKW brand, which is OEM. And we'll go ahead and slide the corners in. And then we'll push it on in just like that. I did actually install some LED fog light bulbs. These are made by Diode Dynamics, which are very, very good quality bulbs. And they're nice and bright. And I got amber ones too, so I think they'll look very good on this thing. And the next step is to put in this new lower grille here. So we'll pop the old one out. And we'll pop the new one in. Next step is mounting this bracket for the adaptive cruise control. And this mounts right onto the core support, and there's already holes pre-drilled for these things too, so that's pretty nice. Alright, screws are in, we'll just tighten them up now. Okay, I'll just put some lube on here so that they turn easy if I need to adjust them. And then it should just pop right in, I think. Nice, that's a solid mount. Now we'll just plug it in and then run the wiring to the firewall. Here we have the wiring harness, and what I did was, this is actually a Volkswagen harness, but it's meant for adaptive cruise control. But to run this thing, you need power, ground, CAN bus high and low, and then there's a plug that runs to the KES. So we'll actually plug this in right now. And then I think I'm going to go up and around here, and then over, and then to the firewall. And I do want to say that they made this little spot here right for this. Or at least I hope so. But I'm going to put this in right here. Nice.
Nice.
We got the wiring harness ran up behind the headlight and right through the fender here, and I kind of tucked it underneath the other wiring loom, and literally this is about the only section of wiring harness that you see this wiring loom here. Pretty nice and neat. If I were to do it like a little bit more OEM style, I would probably take this wiring sheathing off and wrap it with some electrical tape, but whatever. It's not that big of a deal, and it's nice and hidden and subtle. So at this point right now, we could actually slap the bumper back on, and we'll plug in the fog lights, see how they look, and we'll get this whole front end back together. And since we're here right now, we'll go ahead and replace these turning signals on the fender. If I can get it out. And it's just half a twist. Then we'll take these amber bulbs out and replace them with some chrome coated amber ones. And we'll put these smoked ones on. There are a bunch of ones that are LED, but I don't think they look as good as, you know, the OEM ones that look like this. So, boom. That looks good. I like it. The bumper's all back together. We got the fog lights working good. Everything looks great. I really like the front end, and if you know, you know on that sensor up there. So tomorrow we have rotors coming in, which are the correct ones, hopefully. And then we'll go ahead and go inside and we'll do all the wiring in there, which isn't that big of a deal. And hopefully we'll have working brakes and working adaptive cruise control tomorrow. It's the next day here, and today we're going to start out by putting the wiring harness inside the vehicle. So we gotta fish it through the firewall, and then if you take a look over here, this is our wiring diagram that we have to go off of. So this page right here, this is actually for the radar cruise control up front. So you have power going to the junction box, you have CAN high, CAN low, you have a wake up signal that goes to the CAS module, a ground, and that's it on that. And then if you look over here, this is the longitude dynamics management, which is what this is right here. And once again, with this, you have power, ground, CAN high, CAN low, and you have a wake up signal. So this has to be mounted under the dash, and we have to do all the wiring underneath the dash. So we'll start out by fishing it through the firewall right now. In order to access the firewall, we have to take off this kick panel down below with a few T20s. And then that will give us access to the firewall. And if you see down here, we have the rubber grommet to the firewall, and we're just going to push this wire through. Then we'll grab our wiring harness and we'll tape it up to this fish here, and we'll pull it on through. And just to seal up this hole, I'm going to put some strip caulk right on the wire. That way when it goes through, it'll seal up really nice. Okay, so I'm currently upside down here, and right here we have our KES module, which is probably primarily where we'll be doing all our wiring, because I believe it has our CAN bus in here that we need to splice into, and we have to put one wire to this connector here. And then our LDM module, if you guys can see, it's going to actually go right in here, and its new home is going to be right here. So that's going to attach kind of to the back side of the KES module, and it'll be easy enough for us to do all our splicing in here. So we'll go ahead and attach our wake up and all our CAN bus on the KES module, and then we'll run 2 wires over to the fuse box and put them in their proper spots. All right, we got the KES module plug taken apart here. And yeah, the CAN bus I wanted is not in here, but luckily we got the OBD port right next to it, and it has the correct CAN bus that we need on it. This is actually not the correct spot to put the CAN bus. It's actually Ethernet on the OBD, but where I actually tied in the CAN bus is in the junction box on pin 1 and 2 of that. So I had to run wires all the way across the other side of the dash, but no biggie because we're running our power over there anyway, which is this red and blue wire. So we'll tap into this for the cruise control module and the ACC. And then after that's done, we'll tap into this wake up signal right here. And that will go to the LDM module, which is this, to tell it to wake up. And then we'll put our wake up for the ACC actually in pin 18, which is right next to this one here. So we'll go ahead and put this wire in here, and then yeah, we'll get those CAN bus splices in, and we'll clean this all up, and then after that's done, we'll run power over to the fuse box. Okay, so I have everything all wired up here, and as you can see, this is my power wire coming in, and then we just tapped into the red and blue CAN bus at the OBD port. So that's tapped in. The wake up is tapped in at the KES module. We have this orange wire going into the KES module, and we also have our LDM module, if you guys can see, up there mounted nice and neatly. And yeah, everything looks pretty good under here. Everything's nice and neat, and we wrapped all the stuff in Tessa tape, so it looks really, really good. The only thing we have left to do is I have these 2 power wires. So that's going to go across the center console, and we're going to wire that up into the fuse box over there. So we'll go ahead and disassemble some stuff over there. We'll take the glove box out, and we will get these 2 wires in the fuse box. We have to remove this lower kick panel here, which is a T20, and we're just going to get access to this fuse box over here, which is extremely hidden. So we will drop this kick panel down, take off the plugs, and fun fact, if you guys didn't know, there is a hidden 12-volt plug underneath your E90, which a lot of people actually don't know about. So we'll put that in the back, and then we have to get this glove box out, which involves some T20 screws down here. And we have to take these cup holders out too, which involves taking off this trim here. And then Phillips under here. And then I need to get an extension to do these two T20s in there, and then we'll be able to pull out the glove box. And more plugs. And then now the glove box is out. All right, now we're just getting to the actual fuse box down here. And there's two T20s holding the bottom corners in. Oh, I think I have to pull this junction box out first here. Okay, we managed to get this junction box out, which is actually just a fuse box. And yeah, it's a pain in the butt. So on this, we need to put in a 10 amp fuse on number 9, and then we need to do a 10 amp fuse on 65. So we'll go ahead and pull out this wiring harness right here. So we gotta put a wire in this block here, and we also have to put a wire in this block down here, which is the green connector. We got the wiring harness pulled through from the driver's side to the passenger side, and we're just going to go ahead and put these connectors on. So I got a special crimp and a special tool. I'll just put my wiring harness in there and get that one crimped. Then we'll come on to this one and get this one crimped. Yeah, I stopped using those terrible butt connectors a while ago, just because this is a much cleaner and foolproof setup. So it crimps the wire in, and it also holds the sheathing in as well. So then we'll just put our heat shrink over it, and we'll put our heat shrink over this one, and we'll get these heat shrunk. So these wiring, the wire harness here, or these pins, will go into the back of the fuse box, and then we'll just put them in the plug, and then the plug will go into the back of the fuse box, and then we'll be able to put in a 10 amp fuse for both of the circuits. That way, this is how it gets its power, directly from the fuse box. Very clean setup, a lot better than just finding power somewhere and tapping into it. This is pretty much how the OEM BMW would have done it from factory, and that's exactly what we're trying to achieve here. And we'll just go ahead and finish this off with some Tessa tape. And this is exactly what BMW uses on all the interior wiring bits. So this is pretty much as OEM as you could get. And this will be the completion of making this thing absolutely fully loaded. So there isn't another option that this could have came with that we haven't put on this vehicle. So actually, I mean, this thing was pretty much fully loaded when we got it. The only thing it was missing was the adaptive cruise control. And here I got the new clock spring in with the adaptive cruise control, and we'll just put in these 4 bolts and get them all tight. Okay, that's done. Now we'll put the lower section back on and clip the top back together. Now it's time to do some coating. So we are going to remove 544, and then we are going to add 541 in the vehicle order. Then we'll hit actions and we'll save it, both locations. And then what this will do is it'll go through everything, every module that needs to be coded, it'll go through and code. So we have 4 modules that need coding. So it'll code the climate, the cluster, the radio, and the stability control. And we'll click recode. It'll just go through all of them, and it'll code what it needs to code on it. And with this, what it's doing is it's, coding the active cruise control to be in there. And it's also adding a couple modules to the CAN bus that we placed in there as well. So after this is done, we should see the active cruise control module populate and that LDM as well. And now we are finished coding. Well, after 4 days and some shipping delays, we finally got our rotors here. And yeah, it always happens when you have a car stuck on the lift and you have some shipping delays. But no big deal. We finally got the rotors in. And yes, they are the smaller ones. So this is the 340 millimeter one compared to the 370 one. Not too crazy of a difference, just 30 mil. But I mean, it's not that crazy of a difference, but it still is a brake upgrade. So we'll go ahead and put these on, and then we'll finally get to bleeding the brakes on this thing, get the wheels on it, and get it down on the ground. So while the rotors were coming in the mail, I actually did put on these calipers, and basically I just put the brake line on here and tighten it down on the hard brake line. And so these are just dangling on here right now. But we'll go ahead and grab this rotor here, and I'll grab my 6mm Allen, and then we can put this on. Okay, I'll just set this caliper aside really quick as I bolt on this rotor here. And yes, it'll be fine to dangle that brake line just for a second as we put on the new rotor. And now we'll go ahead and put on these calipers. And we'll go ahead and tighten these bolts down to 110 Newton meters. Okay, we finally got these brakes on and they are looking stunning. I love the look of it, especially with the blue. It's a nice contrast on it. So now we're down to bleeding the brakes and putting wheels on this thing. So we'll go ahead and do the brakes right now. Okay, it's finally time to throw on these wheels, and before I do that, I want to swap out these center caps here because I want to say these are slightly faded, and that just doesn't fly with me. So we'll pop these out and we'll put the new ones in, and we'll have the logo facing towards the bottom of the M logo. So we'll do that on all four. All right, on the rear, I did buy, I believe this is a 12 or 15 mil spacer, just to give it that little bit of poke on the back. You don't need these. The brakes fit on fine without them, but I just want to have that little poke in the back. All right, we just hopped on the highway here and we're going to try out the cruise control. We got the brakes bled, they work great. They're already bed in as well, so yeah, let's see if the cruise control works. Oh yeah, look, it has the car in it and everything. And then we could even move it up to make it closer to the car as well. Sweet, that's awesome. And then we're approaching this car in front of me and we're slowing down too. Well, that's a success. So I like seeing that. And yeah, we'll head to the car wash right now and we'll give this thing a well-deserved bath with everything that we did on it. And I think that's pretty much a wrap with this video. So thanks guys, and if you like this content, subscribe to the channel and give me a thumbs up. It really helps out our channel, so thank you very much.